Commentary YouTubers have arguably been on the platform for over a decade now. I'm not even going to pretend to know the first person who ever made a commentary video, not because it would be too hard, but because I don't care. What I do know, however, is that Leafy was super popular.
Literally.
At the time, his content was fresh. It was different. It was edgy. No, not that edgy. While his videos followed a similar formula of surf gameplay, play clip of person, talk about person, and epically own them with some roasts.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
It was revolutionary as Leafy experienced an insane amount of growth. This has also made the side effect of spawning hundreds of Leafy clones trying to imitate his style of content to varying degrees of success. You either had people like Pyrocynical, who ended up doing his own thing later on and inspired his own clones, or people like the small commentary community. This group is notorious for trying to copy an old formula to little to no success.
Why are people being vegan folk? Calling them animal bullies. Literally, this shit has 700,000 views.
As mentioned before, people began to phase out that style of content, going for higher quality videos that were harder to pump out, or they would stick to Leafy's style while trying to tackle more serious topics. This isn't to say that Leafy's content style completely died out or became obsolete either. To this day, people are still using his style of gameplay over commentary to incredible levels of success. This also segues into the main star of our show. Prismate Luke is, or was, a YouTuber who made content using that oh so familiar gameplay commentary style. He's also a YouTuber who has managed to completely destroy his reputation in the commentary community by refusing to make any real positive changes to his content creation. Instead of improving in any real way, he used the same old tactics until it all caught up with him. This is the story of how Prismate Luke destroyed his career and became the worst commentary channel ever. For that segue, you've just gotta subscribe. If you want to be extra cool, you could join my Discord or follow me on Twitter too. Or just straight up give me money. Become a channel member to get videos a day early and other perks, like being able to play games with me sometimes. Please, I'm really trying to buy another PS5 and they're really expensive. This story takes place all the way back in 2020, aka the dark times. Is when Luke first began posting videos. They weren't even on trending games or anything, but instead on ones he seemed to enjoy. At the time, he also had an incredibly small audience of less than 100 subscribers. Things were continuing as normal until Luke had one of his videos quote unquote blow up. This singular video would define the direction Luke's content would take past that point, with him also thanking his viewers who had stuck with him beforehand.
I want to say that I didn't think I'd reach this far so quickly. Like literally, I made my 50 subscriber thank you video 3 videos down the line. And I don't want to sound like I'm bragging to you guys or anything, because I'm not trying to.
With his IGN video doing so well, Prismate Luke would move over to commentary as his main form of content, something I can actually relate to. While Luke was already incredibly successful, he entered God mode once he made a certain video. Luke would manage to make a planet-sized breakthrough in the algorithm through a video titled Yandere Dev vs Scott Cawthon, Inspiration vs Stagnation. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty fire title. Oh, and it got 1 million views. This was during the peak of the Yandere Dev hate train, where he was getting shit by everyone. Like, everyone. To point out just how insane this was, Luke's channel the week before had less than 1,000 subscribers. He wasn't a known creator with any connections, nor was he respected by the community as a whole, because people didn't know him. This was a mix of good timing and an amazing title and thumbnail that managed to propel Luke, someone who started 2020 with 0 subscribers, to 100,000 subscribers.
It should have been me!
After having one video blow up, Luke began posting much more regularly, talking about hot topics on the community at the time, like EDP, J-Station, and PewDiePie. The videos in question all having over or nearly 100,000 views.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Wait, no, I've done that too. It was absolutely insane to see the insane speed at which Luke's channel was growing. I don't think we have ever seen anyone grow that fast. And I don't think we've seen anyone since Luke's departure do anything close to this. I don't actually know though. There probably is. I'm not that tapped in with YouTube. In just 6 months, Luke had managed to hit 100k. On top of that, make really good friends with a lot of influential figures in his community. Oh, don't worry, I'll get to them in a minute. His content was boring as fuck. I managed to go on and on about his incredible success without really talking about my issues with his content, which is that it's boring. Lazy ass videos! nigga! I've come to realize that something that might put me to sleep faster than someone reading the Bible to me could be very entertaining to someone. And that's okay. Maybe people watched Luke as background noise, or you're actually mentally ill enough to watch Luke's content or full concentration. Don't worry, I won't judge. At least not out loud. Regardless, Luke was winning. But good things like this could only last for so long. Because after all of this success, Luke would find himself in an endless pool of drama caused entirely by his own actions. For timing reasons, I guess we should start with a certain furry. This video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. You ever just use Netflix? Yeah, me too. Atlas gives the user the ability to take a virtual holiday everywhere around the world, gaining access to the much cooler and superior Netflixes. My personal favorite use for Atlas is when I'm out of the country and I really want to watch the goated with the sauce United Kingdom Netflix. With Atlas, you can sit down with Walter White, Wesley Gray, and binge Broken Bad on the endless amounts of movies that are region locked by Netflix. Atlas also stops your data from being tracked by websites who want to sell it off to those pesky hacker men. With the VPN's military level encryption, Atlas also gives you access to a breach scanner to let you know if your email has been hacked, which is great by the way, because if my email was hacked, if the VPN isn't right for you, you also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So buy it now. Atlas is currently offering the least amount of money for such a high-quality product. Use my link in the description and pinned comment if you want 83% off a 3-year plan. It also supports the channel if you use that code. That's only £1.46 by the way. Or $1.99 in fake money. Anyhow, back to the video. The pyrocynical drama was a mess. I don't think you'll find a single person who would disagree with me. In fact, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. A short rundown on the situation. Pyrocynical group? No group? But maybe he is. No, he isn't. It's fun. And Luke covered it. No. We're not there yet. While the Ivory situation was white hot, Luke had released a video going over the allegations presented. Before even playing the video, I have to point out that at the time, Pyro hadn't even made his response video yet, which automatically rubs me the wrong way. I spoke about this here in more detail, but TLDR, it's kind of impossible for me to accept that someone is staying neutral while only having access to one side of a story. The video does actually start with Luke putting speculation on Ivory's claims, for a lack of proof that this was pyrocynical in those original messages. But not even 3 minutes later, he completely changes his mind and starts talking about these points as fact.
And from what I've watched on the interview, Ivory might have genuinely not known what group meant and thought it was appropriate to call Pyro out for doing it. But it's up to the accuser to prove their side, and they didn't do a good job of it until the end, and their main claim is something they're backing out of now, and it's innocent until proven guilty. That being said, if this is Pyro, I think it's messed up, and I think at this point he has to come out about it. He can't just ignore it. Too many things, including his own girlfriend's messages, point to him doing this stuff with this person, and although what's been shown wasn't grooming, and even Ivory is backing away from that claim, if it's true that this is him, he should apologize for it, because it's a really sick and messed up thing to do to a minor, but only if it's true. I think for now, unless someone else comes out with more definitive evidence, this is it when it comes to Ivory. Pyrocynical will probably make a response video, and hopefully will either disprove this or admit to it, because this is something that could get even more out of hand if he doesn't actually respond.
In this clip, Luke is very much on the side that Pyro should have come clean about what he supposedly did and apologized, which I have no problem with. Like, he's wrong, but hindsight. He later expands upon this later in the video. I don't think people would have gotten on his ass as much as they did if he stayed consistent during the whole drama. But as we should know by now, this isn't what happened. Because a short time after this video's release, Luke would make another video titled Pyrocynical gives his response to the allegations. This video was infamous for how blatantly Luke had flip-flopped to a completely different opinion the second new information was released.
Not only that, Ivory had not only initiated roleplay with other people that were around the same age as Pyro, and roleplayed with them at the same type of level. When one of them reached out to Ivory to apologize for what they went through, because of them, Ivory responded with, "No, you're fine, I don't care," which immediately destroys a lot of the case against Pyro, because not only does it show that Ivory's not really angry at Pyro because of what he did, but only because of who he is and how much clout he has.
That's weird, because in a video you posted literally a week ago, you said this.
And I've said this before in other videos, but it doesn't matter if the minor's into it. A predator's still a predator whether the minor's willing to or not.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what could have possibly changed your opinion on a subject so far. past, or if you'll even be invited to the next function for a fumble so bad. If you had no idea who Luke was and couldn't recognize his boring ass voice, you'd think these videos were made by two separate people. In the first video, you could argue that Luke was on Ivory's side for the majority of it, even telling Pyro to be careful with his response. But the moment Pyro made his response on Reddit of all places, Luke completely throws out the idea that Ivory is a victim entirely.
Dude, I saw it on Reddit.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet, kids.
But by making it a group situation off the bat and being wishy-washy with it, no one's going to take you seriously, and they shouldn't. Because not only did you try and destroy Pyrocynical's career over something you lied about and never brought up to him, you don't really seem to care about what he did, but only who did it because Pyro's big and you can get clout off of him. You don't care about the other people you had chats with, you were only interested with Pyro's. And you're taking away from actual victims who, because of people like you in situations like this, get taken less and less seriously with each passing instance of this.
My full contrast hero KO. No one's gonna get that joke, you fucking nerd. Wow, Luke sure did flip-flop in this situation. Insert less cooler non-Yu-Gi-Oh reference. It was so bad that Pyro felt the need to use these two videos as an example of the bullshit going on.
The problem is I have with this drama that there is no middle ground. Originally, Ivory was labeled as a manipulative clout chaser that could do no wrong because people chose to believe my screenshots over his.
And you turned out to be what a lot of people were calling you from the start. A clout chaser trying to ruin someone's career on YouTube, let alone on the internet, for attention.
But now those same people are saying I'm guilty because they read this document and didn't bother to cross-reference it with my original statement.
Not only is there proof of Pyro knowing that Ivory was underage, but definitive proof that the messages were real, along with other damning evidence too.
And also, these are the same people that say I shouldn't take my time with this response.
It's gone too far and too much has come out for him to take his time with it, like he did with his last response.
There needs to be a middle ground.
Luke realizing he majorly deleted both videos before making a response with a black screen. This shows he's serious, guys.
I'm not making this video for views or money. It isn't monetized, and trust me, I wish I didn't put myself in this position, but I did, and it wouldn't be right not to say something. I've handled the pyrocynical drama very poorly. You probably already know that. I rushed into it thinking it was just a simple case of someone accusing a popular YouTuber of things they had no proof to, and I said some damning things and assumed certain things when I shouldn't have, and as time's gone on, more about this drama has come out that shows how terribly I've handled all of it.
I'm so glad that you're owning up instead of ignoring it like a lesser person would. Thank you. So are we just gonna ignore the fact that half of this video is shifting most of the outrage to Turkey Tom? This is now 2 years old. Getting pissed off now is silly. I do think for the most part, Luke was genuine with his apology and did want to do better. Commentary YouTubers mess up like this from time to time. What was important for me now was how Luke conducted himself in the future. And oh boy, did he only get worse. A quick rundown of things that happen behind the scenes, aka things that are kind of important but not important enough for their own sections. Kai and Omnia, two up-and-coming YouTubers, made videos on the larger YouTuber Tobi Majestic, criticizing her fairly and unfairly for her actions over the past. Tobi and her friends didn't like that very much, so ching 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 Dragon Ball Z. I mean, they got into drama with each other. Luke makes 2 videos on the drama. I'll give Luke this, he was mostly right. Operative word being mostly. Tobi supporting Shane Dawson and PewDiePie doesn't make her a fake progressive, especially when you understand her argument, which Luke doesn't show for some reason. Her defense of Shane was that it was a long time ago, and for PewDiePie, it was the fact that he hadn't displayed behavior like this beforehand. His points in her being horrible at taking criticism is entirely valid though. However, another issue with this video is that Luke doesn't even show the video he's talking about at all, just saying it was bad.
And Tobi noticed the video and everyone calling her out in the comments section, and posted on Twitter how she was going to make a response video, and she released it, and honestly, it's not that good. I mean, it's not the worst apology thing I've seen, but when I have to go off of videos like this, there's not much competition.
Like, why is it bad? Did it kill my wife and child? Tell me, Luke, I need to know! None of this is really cancelable, you know? Tobi was kind of a dick, and that was all it was at the end of the day. Oh, and the NSFW Todoroki point was also fair. You're not gonna hear anything from me. When things start to get goofier is when Luke makes another video on Tobi, where he once again completely ignores his first video and contradicts himself. Now Tobi is using her BPD as an excuse to justify her transphobia?
Well, she still hasn't addressed the fake activism thing, but she decided to make a twit long for the transphobic comment, and what would you know, it's terrible. She either didn't care enough to look over what she actually said, or she lied about what actually happened for sympathy, hoping her audience didn't know the original context of it, so that way she could get away with invalidating all the people criticizing her for it, which didn't work. All the comments are calling her out for it, and I think these comments say it best. You called a trans man's chest milkies, and when you were politely asked not to do that again, you invalidated him and told him to go away. And guess what excuse she used? Her BDP, or her borderline personality disorder, which, newsflash, doesn't make you a transphobe, doesn't make you forget about the horrible stuff you've done, and it doesn't make you above apologizing for everything you have done.
Earlier in the video, Luke talked about how a trans person would know how a trans issue is affecting them, and that Tobi was incredibly disrespectful to tell them to knock it off.
One more thing it brought up was Tobi's treatment of a comment from a trans man talking about how Tobi referred to a trans person's chest, calling them milkies, causing the person to feel dysphoric. And all the person did was ask Tobi to just call them chests from now on. It wasn't mean, it wasn't even criticism either. It was just a person asking her to be more respectful moving forward. And what does she say back to the person that's just asking her to be more knowledgeable in the future? She tells the person to knock it off and go pull a muscle elsewhere. A person who would know what would cause dysphoria.
He did the exact same thing with her BPD. Does that make him ableist? I mean, we have to have some type of consistency here, dude.
Guess what excuse she used? Her BDP, or her borderline personality disorder, which, newsflash, doesn't make you a transphobe, doesn't make you forget about the horrible stuff you've done, and it doesn't make you above apologizing for everything you have done.
My guy, she literally apologized. Luke showed that in his video. Does he think his viewer base are made up of illiterate children or something? Because he wouldn't be wrong. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess we shouldn't talk about medically diagnosed factors that would cause us to act irrationally. To me, this comes off as incredibly ignorant at best, and ableist at worst. Her explaining her behavior isn't an issue. Learn how to read.
She doubled down on it. She kept recommending videos defending her under the veil of a new perspective on the situation, when they were really just biased garbage from her friends or people that clearly liked her. And guess what? Not only were those not well received to the point that this person deleted theirs, it only made people more angry because instead of addressing her garbage apology and giving a real one, she kept using other people's defense of her as an excuse not to.
Number one, Harsh wasn't friends with Tobi at the time, and calling a video biased because they disagree with you was a classy move. Luke talks about how Tobi's friends dogpiled Kainomnia. I think this might be one of the worst things about all of this, but once again, we're not there yet, lads.
I got recommended this video from another YouTuber named Minty Badward, and I decided to watch it, and it gets so much worse with Tobi. If you thought what she's done was bad, it isn't anything to what she's been doing. I mean, there's some lighter stuff too, like how she's been liking posts about how people should never apologize when people get mad, which really just reinforces her delusional mindset of not apologizing for all this garbage she's done.
Read! Oh my god, he cannot read. The thing he puts in his video disproves what he's saying. Let me just read it. And remember, never apologize for liking a tweet. Give an inch, they'll take a mile. Never stops until they realize they have no power. Quit apologizing for things you didn't do. To people who don't even believe in forgiveness or redemption. Why did I add an accent? Now, here's Luke's clip again.
I got recommended this video from another YouTuber named Minty Badward, and I decided to watch it, and it gets so much worse with Tobi. If you thought what she's done was bad, it isn't anything to what she's been doing. I mean, there's some lighter stuff too, like how she's been liking posts about how people should never apologize when people get mad, which really just reinforces her delusional mindset of not apologizing for all this garbage she's done.
What? There's a few minutes dedicated to Tobi fetishizing gay relationships because she likes yaoi. This is the kind of stuff that bothers me, because why do you care what she's tweeting? I don't care because content creators shouldn't have to constantly worry about someone getting the wrong idea about the tweet they responded to. It's silly to expect that. Just a Robot, mine and your favorite fumbler, made a pretty bad video on the Tobi drama where he fumbled the bag. He's my favorite fumbler for a reason, everyone. Luke then projectile crash lands onto the battlefield to take shots at Hopeless Peaches.
And another person who commented was Hopeless Peaches, who also decided to put herself into the drama despite constantly saying how she doesn't want to be in it, and would just never leave it alone. And when people like Thummin called her out for her terrible and biased behavior, she made a community post about how she wasn't friends with Tobi, which I didn't actually know she wasn't friends with Tobi, because she did everything in her power to defend her, and failified Omnia so much that I thought she was. Because why go through all that hassle for someone you apparently don't even care about? Well, you say how you're going to be taking a break from the drama and comments and all that, which is fine. If you need a break, you need one. I'm not saying you don't have mental health problems, but you would constantly come back to post more things and beg for sympathy. And when you were getting genuine criticism for all the garbage you've done, you decided to bait your audience, going off the grid for hours to make your audience worry that you're hurt or killed yourself. And guess what? 2 days later, you were back to making tweets again. And she's been doing this for a long time. It's very manipulative, and she's always using her mental health as a pity me card, which is funny since she calls called out Tobi for doing the same thing.
Hello everyone, this is Hopeless Peaches and welcome to the channel.
This is Hopeless Peaches, a non-commentary YouTuber who had been making her rise in the community. During the events of the Tobi drama, she dared to have a neutral opinion and people chose to call her out for that. This little comment by Luke worked as both a preview for the next anime arc and a sign that something was going on behind the scenes. Luke, Omnia, Kai, Thuman, and Creepshow Art were all friends behind the scenes. This was information that had only been released recently. Knowing this now paints this entire situation in a much darker light. The Hopeless Peaches drama to this day might be the worst case of dogpiling, bad faith, and a lack of reading skills by both the YouTubers who made videos on the drama and their audiences as a whole, with multiple large creators outright lying about events or taking the least charitable interpretation of them to paint a narrative. Things we see in the original video on Tobi. In the bottom right... In the bottom left, I'm an idiot. In the bottom left, you can see once again something that completely goes against what Luke is saying. And yeah, at the time, it seemed like barely anyone noticed. Gotta say, hindsight's a bitch. You all look very stupid. It's finally time to talk about the Hopeless Peaches drama. The Hopeless Peaches drama has been covered by multiple creators throughout the years, and the conclusion most of them reached was that everyone is being a little bit brain dead.
Back and tell me that you are stupid. You're not smart.
As stated previously, this all started back when making videos on Tobi was still the cool thing to do. While other creators hopped into the bandwagon of kill Hopeless Peaches, kill Hopeless Peaches, I'll be focusing on Luke when I can, as he made the first video. In this video, Luke accuses Peaches of some incredibly dark stuff, such as lying about creators, Peaches trying to manipulate her audience to attack other creators, and easily the worst of all, that Peaches was faking her attempt at self-deletion because she was getting criticized.
But you would constantly come back to post more things and beg for sympathy, and when you were getting genuine criticism for all the garbage you've done, you decided to bait your audience.
Spoilers, none of that were true. I'll tackle the baiting part because it's the most serious. In the screenshot Luke puts up in his video, you can see Peaches apologize for the last tweet. Normal human beings would take her word for it, but Luke isn't normal, is he? His reasoning for thinking she was baiting is entirely because she posted it publicly, and I think that is stupid. This is just Luke taking her in the least charitable way possible just for the sake of it.
If this is where the drama ends, I'm willing to bite the bullet, but that's not where it ended. She kept going on about it. And not only that, instead of being sorry for what she did, she turned really bitter about having to apologize and started lying about me. Where just a few days later, it turned from an issue she had to work on and improve, it turned into me being this awful person who was throwing around accusations that were ruining her career. Even though if you went to her social or her Twitter, you could see that she was gaining subs. Which is funny because you say I called you a liar for no reason, but there you are lying about the effect I had on your channel for no reason.
Read, nigga! Read!
That's not what she said, actually. Let's actually read what was shown on screen.
Due to these tweets and the fact I didn't go through with it, has caused allegations of me faking suicide and suicide baiting. I have lost subs already due to this video, and I have had a lot of comments about me or at me, calling me manipulative, a liar, and everything in between. I don't believe the guy who made the video said this stuff due to being intentionally malicious. I feel it was all just being heated and interpreting me in the worst way. But I can't shake this. It feels so much worse than anything else. It hurts to know that, well, because I didn't die that day, I am seen as a manipulator and liar. Again, that is not what he wants or anything at all. It's just how my brain is perceiving it because... no, I'm not mentally well right now. That is kinda how a brain like mine, and probably others like me, would perceive this. Though I do know I need to remember that that can't be the truth. I hope not.
So, what did Luke say again? It seems Luke had claimed that Peaches said the complete opposite of what was actually said in her post. Originally, when this video had come out, everyone was supporting Luke and attacking Peaches for all of the horrible things she didn't do. Wait a second. Now, why did this work? Well, the obvious answer, the YouTube audience are illiterate. Most people listen to Luke's videos as background noise while doing other things. And because you're not fully paying attention or even tabbed into the video, people will take what he says seriously, which is the problem. Even if people are watching the video with full focus, people weren't reading what was on screen. Worse yet, other creators, who weren't in that group chat by the way, also started using Luke's video as a source. The video where he literally lies about Peaches in the first 5 minutes of the video. You lot are failures, holy shit. Luke continues this narrative that Peaches called him a bad person throughout the video by once again ignoring what is actually being shown on screen. Eventually things move to DMs where Luke says Peaches threatened him with a video. I guess Peaches should have just let herself get lied about on the internet. I don't fucking know, dude.
She told me to leave her alone, so I did. I didn't answer, I didn't vaguely tweet about her, I left it alone, because I thought maybe she would have thought this over and realized how unreasonable she was being. But instead, she took it as a sign to keep tweeting about me and demonizing me and my character to her entire audience. And after ignoring it for a bit, I messaged her back, and I told her I'm only responding because she's accusing me of stuff I didn't do. It isn't my fault that she hadn't explained anything she had done until someone called her out. And I said I don't deserve for her to lie about me for sympathy, especially since she's only getting backlash for the garbage she pulled. She then responded that she hadn't mentioned my name once, which is a lie. She had name dropped me several times, and I'm the only one that was calling her out for her garbage at the time. She even called me a hypocrite for being upset about her lying about me. Unlike you, I don't need to make up stuff to look better.
Whoa, what? The f is he talking about? Where are you reading this?
I'm sorry, I have a public post apologizing and talking about a lot of stuff that, again, you were tagged in, so I'm guessing you've seen it. So I won't go into that here. Instead, I wanted to say how your portrayal of me in your video was really gross. I don't believe you did it intentionally, but no, I was not faking suicide at all, nor was I suicide baiting or faking any other kind of illness at all. I feel I have been just wrongfully dragged into this drama far longer than necessary. Thuman already covered what needed to be covered, and I just find it greatly disturbing that you not only have been following my every move, but then brought me up in a video not even remotely about. Thank you for reading. I still feel very shaken up. I don't know how to really hold myself moving forward, but I am talking to people and so I should be okay. Don't worry about that. Don't also harass anybody who said these things. I just want to lessen the stigma for others.
No, seriously, where the fuck are you reading this? This entire video is filled with misinformation and testimony from Creepshowa and Camilla Cuevas. Moving on. What can I even say about that? Shannon is, well, she's Shannon, and Camilla, well, I've made 2 videos on Camilla, and while they aren't the best, we all know the bullshit spewing during the Peaches stuff. Oh, also the group chat, but I've spoken about that enough. During the gap between the Peaches drama and the Tobi drama, Luke started taking shots at Just a Robot because Jar made a Tobi video. Nah, seems legit. Just a Robot has been on this platform for the longest time. When any creators on the site for so long, you start being able to see how they've changed over time, either due to them maturing or realizing that saying slurs in videos isn't financially profitable. I don't really know where Jar lies on this spectrum, because back in 2016, Jar was not beating these racist allegations.
Well, what's the context? Did he say it in a song? Did he call someone it? Or did he just say it? Why is it bad when only white people say it? If he was Asian, would it be okay? If he was black, I know it certainly would be okay. The only time I remember him saying it was when he said, say.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't bread over every egg.
While Jar doesn't do this now, he never really addressed these old videos until Luke covered them. But before I go any further, I'm pulling out my race card to avoid criticism. Just a Robot isn't racist. Probably. Luke, in an attempt to discredit Just a Robot, targeted videos made years beforehand of him saying the hard R, and that's bad. But I don't think he's racist, guys. Look at this picture again. Look, I have plenty of issues with Jar's defense video due to a few dishonest points, but the idea that he was a bigot in any way seemed a bit far-fetched to me.
And were just in general toxic. It was just blatant homophobia and racism, hidden under the mask of freedom of speech. And although there are a lot of channels now that had that phase, a lot of them grew out of it, but Jar didn't.
I completely disagree. I jumped off the whole anti-SJW bandwagon before the big downfall started happening. Granted, I did jump off not for any moral reason, but just because I was bored originally. But I have done videos on anti-SJWs like No Bullshit, and I did a video called The Fall of the Anti-SJW Community, which Prismate Luke does show a clip of without any audio in his video. So I know for a fact that he has seen it.
Luke made a focus on Jar's old anti-SJW videos. Yes, you did just hear me audibly cringe. Luke claims Jar defended the Confederate flag when, in reality, Jar was bringing up how the flag's meaning changed over time and that it isn't inherently racist. I should say I disagree.
And the funniest part to me is that it's really easy to find it all. In fact, it started off like this. One of his first videos was on the Confederate flag, where the video just boils down to the flag isn't racist because there were black slave owners, and that just because a few racists use the flag, it doesn't make it racist.
No, that's not what my whole argument boils down to in any way, shape, or form. And I did say this about the Confederate flag.
I just want to make something very clear. I am not a fan of the Confederate flag. However, I do think censoring it will make things worse.
That's what a lot of this video is to me. Jar makes a bad take on something and Luke tries to say that this bad take was Jar defending bigotry, which I just don't think is the case. I think Jar's defense of using the hard R is stupid.
Oy vey, I knew this would come up one day. I said it years ago on my old channel, and I don't think I have said it on my current channel, at least as far as I'm aware. Many other YouTubers have used a word such as Mr. Beast, PewDiePie. There's a 2-minute compilation video of Pyrocynical saying it. Turkey Tom has said it. Keemstar has said it. Jake Paul has said it.
Like, how about just not saying it? I don't care how super based these YouTubers used to be. How about just apologizing next time instead of bringing up that other YouTubers were doing it too? And then Luke, using 100% of his brain power, please listen, I'm being deadly serious when I say this, accused Jar of doing virtual blackface. That's not even him. What are you talking about?
Along with that, he has multiple videos of just having blackface versions of himself.
Because there exists this avatar, but the one on screen is a whole other like an actual black person. This was supposed to be Luke's final gotcha point that would have finished off Jar. But if that was seriously the best he could have done, we gotta call it. Send this guy back to the circus. Also, there is speculation that multiple YouTubers were involved with this video. There is no way to prove this, but I would not be surprised if it were true. Cough, cough. Now, I will say that Luke did speak of Jar behind the scenes and took down the video, which is good. I'm very glad Luke came to his senses, took the video down, and never got into drama with anyone again. He got into drama again. Lexet was a comic artist on the mobile app Webtoon. The comic they made, Jeff Disorders, tackled very serious topics like abuse very frequently. But surprisingly, the comic isn't the main part of this section. That would be Discord drama. Lexet's Discord server was filled with minors, and multiple instances of them being inappropriate around those minors came up, and were eventually compiled into docs made by former members of that server. Luke was given a doc by one of the potential victims of Lexet and ran with it.
If you don't know who Lexet is, she's a 25-year-old Webtoons artist who's known for Jeff's Disorders, a webtoon romance horror comic based on, would you guess, Jeff the Killer? Now, I have no problem with the comic itself. Her webtoons, Instagram, and Patreon make it clear that this is for 18+ people only, and I don't mind it being romantic or having lewd moments. If this was just about the comic itself, I wouldn't have anything to talk about. But alas, like many others, her Discord is a major problem. Now, on the surface, it might not look that bad. Sure, the way she names certain people is weird and needlessly sexual, but that's fine as long as there isn't any minors in there. I mean, the server is 18+, so minors aren't allowed in there, right? About that, there were several minors in that Discord that we know of. There probably are more.
Once again, people are fine to just let Luke spread misinfo on the internet, well, until two YouTubers decided that they wanted justice for the situation. Harley TBS and Just Stop decided to contact multiple victims of Lexet and the webtoon artist themselves in order to get as much evidence regarding the claims made in the doc as possible. In doing so, they pointed at multiple points where Luke was just wrong about events, or trying to cancel someone over something that really isn't that deep in my opinion. Like the claim of using a TTS bot to send inappropriate messages in a VC. Luke can try to spin this in any way he wants, but I don't think it's fair that someone loses their entire career because of something like this.
Would come back to bite Lexet in the arse. Me and Braxton at the time kept digging and came to a smart conclusion that would allow us to make a more informed and conclusive judgment towards the responsibility of Lexet. You see, the artwork shared was also shared on Lexet's Patreon, claimed to be posted on the 8th, a few days after it was claimed to have been sent in her server in a chat which included minors. However, the evidence shown to me by Lexet proved at the time it either had to have been made after it was shared in the server, meaning the screenshots shown were faked, or that Lexet had faked this evidence she sent to me. Me and Braxton decided to go digging, and I got in contact with someone who had recently become a patron of Lexet, and when speaking to them, we realized they could access the comments on Lexet's posts. And when asked to do so, they noticed the comments pointed out in the document had been deleted from Lexet's Patreon, meaning either she or the commenter was deleting these, potentially to hide the evidence. This put scrutiny on Lexet's actions. I then decided to get this Patreon subscriber to contact many of the people who commented on Lexet's Patreon post and get them in contact with Braxton so that they could go through the emails and show without a doubt when Lexet made the initial Patreon post, because it was claimed Lexet had altered another post to replace it to cover her back. But that couldn't at the time have been proven. When one of these patrons responded, we guaranteed it. Lexet had posted this Patreon days earlier, back in November, way before any of Luke's evidence claimed, and had now faked other evidence to cover her own back. This conclusive evidence only came about because of me and Braxton's research. So now all we had to do was call Lexet out.
The issue people had with Luke wasn't that he was wrong, but more that the evidence he brought to the table was either lacking or non-existent when it came to the more serious claims. So, like a regular human being, Luke started making videos in Harley because they criticized him in DMs. Wait, what? Yes, this predator has a chance to go free because of my poor coverage of a situation. I know, I'll make videos on Harley TVS instead.
You fucking...
He completely derailed the situation for basically no reason. In Luke's tiny, microscopic brain, this was the most important thing at the time, because he pulled out all the stops to try and cancel Harley. And this would prove to be Luke's finale in a sense. Because something that I didn't bring up is that all of this had been happening at the same time. And after months of getting away with poor research, everything finally caught up with him all at once. Out of everyone Luke had made an effect on, I think these two got it the worst. Luke had tried to claim that Peaches was a super beta who lied about multiple creators while blatantly ignoring context and lying about screenshots. He almost did the same thing to Harley and Just a Robot too. And while I'm sure he was convinced he'd get away with it, that wasn't the case. Luke's final few moments in the community had him pick fights with Harley and Just Stop. Harley at the time only had around 10,000 subscribers, and Luke had 150,000 of them. In an attempt to avoid having to admit fault, Luke lied about Harley multiple times throughout his video on them, labeling them a clout chaser for trying to gatekeep a situation to report on it first, which was disproven.
And that's why Cameron didn't include me in the call. Because Cameron wanted to speak to Luke, right? Because he wanted to get his side out, right? However, after seeing how the Zaid talk turned out, I wasn't comfortable with Cameron speaking to Luke. And then I made Cameron one agreement, right? I said that I would be happy for Cameron to talk to Luke as long as Cameron agreed to let me be in the call, right? And we agreed that we'd do a group chat, right? But then Cameron then backstabbed me and privately called Luke because he wanted to shit on me and damage my reputation, which is something that you'll notice Cameron does a lot. And Cameron claims that it was because he needed space, but it's really not the case. Cameron messed up in a very important call that I was making with someone. And then because of that, I didn't want him to speak to Luke. And then because Cameron then got angry at me, he didn't want me to discuss it.
That they had a big ego about their videos, which was also disproven.
And I find it funny how he acts like the videos he makes are high art or are better than other people's, when the only thing he does differently is adding a blur to the background of his video when there's a screenshot.
Luke claims that I seem to think that my videos are better than other people's. Never once have I claimed that, oh, my videos are the best or, oh, my videos are amazing. I think he's referring to one time with Sensitive Society where I pointed out to a YouTuber called Sensitive, who's never scripted a video, admitted to me that he only does videos for money, and says that he doesn't care about his content, and rushes his videos out to get the money. I said that I believed my videos were better quality than his. I believe that my videos are decent, because I work on thumbnails, I work on scripts, I work on making sure that the visuals are correct, I work on researching my information, and I work on making sure that I'm confident and proud of everything I put out. I don't believe that my content is this holy grail of amazing content. I know that there's so many other content creators that do every single part of this situation better than me. People like Braxton Just Stop. His content is incredible, and I can only give him credit for how amazing he does every part of his content.
Luke claimed that Harley tried to scam a fan artist and ban them when they wanted payment for their art. And now, say it with me, folks. It was disproven.
but it isn't just his fan base that he will use for art. For example, when someone named Sebi had made sprites for him, he wanted to use one of them for merch on his Patreon. Well, Sebi said he should pay her for each piece of art he sells because that's her work and she made it as fan art, not for selling. And when Sally just settled for $10 for him to sell the art as much as he wants, he said he was going to pay her, but when she confronted him about, paying her, she got hit with a ban.
This is so misled from Luke, and you can even see it in his own screenshot. Sebi was banned for threatening to sue me. Sebi did a lot of art for me, including sprites. This was so that she could do it for her portfolio and for experience. I've also had to pay Sebi for this fan art because she threatened to sue me and strike down all my content if I didn't.
Oh, and the lolicon point. I had almost forgotten. Luke was the one who brought this up first, and to this day, people are still bringing this up like an own. My Murph video shows her doing the exact same thing, like it's a gotcha point against Harley.
It's odd to see someone defending Luffy. It almost feels as if Harley looks at nobody in their sane mind would defend that unless they enjoy it.
Which, it wasn't back then, and also, Ratio, you like touching little boys. Harley made an hour-long response video going into insane detail over every single error made in that video. And I think this is truly where a lot of Luke's audience had started to realize that he was doing something malicious. It just had to be. What made things even worse is Just Stop's video on Luke. Unlike before where Luke was able to take the first shot at someone and get them harassed, Braxton went over every issue he had with Luke's content, and instead of accepting the criticism and apologizing, he made a video trying to refute nearly every point brought up against him. Points that I've brought up throughout this video, ones where he was objectively in the wrong too. Just Stop was an established creator with a similar sub count to Luke at the time. In this instance, he couldn't just lie about the dude and call it a day, so he got absolutely folded. Then everyone also started making videos on Luke. Harley, Mali, Jar, Peaches, and so many others weighed in. Even the very friends Luke had made all the way back in the Tobi drama abandoned him. With him bleeding subs, him losing connections he had in the community, and other creators bigger than him now making videos about all of his fuck-ups, Luke was truly alone to pay for all of his sins. Until he ran away. What? He ran away? Yes! Luke took his bags of money and abandoned his channel for over a year instead of addressing any of the issues people had with him, other than taking a few videos down privately. And that's where our story ends. It's incredibly fitting that someone as boring as Luke had such an anticlimactic end at the very end of this all. An ending that saw absolutely no one have any real closure over what Luke had done to them. Prisonmate Luke acts as a cautionary tale for any creator in this community. You can ignore it as much as you'd like, but eventually everything catches up with you. And when that happens, if you respond poorly, you can kiss your credibility goodbye. To get a little analytical for a second, someone could compare Luke to Icarus. No, for real, hear me out. They both ignored the warnings of their peers and ended up flying way too close to the sun, and both came crashing down after the fact. If Luke is watching this video, all I can say is that you should never come back. I don't think you have the emotional maturity to actually handle, well, anything. All you are really good at was stirring the pot and then having other smaller creators clean up your messes. And with the amount of creators being exposed for being bad people constantly going up, a guy like you would make reaching a proper conclusion nearly impossible. Stay gone. Thanks to my first ever channel members, Pwep and Alien Hunter. Oh, and also Clownkeeper, who joined during the creation of this video. If you have $5 you want to waste and want to see my videos early with a few other perks, then there you go. Your support on my new videos means so much to me, and I love each and every single one of you. You're all the best. Thanks for watching. See ya, lads. June 13th, 2022. Over a year since Luke posted his last video to his channel. And suddenly, without warning, a new video appeared titled Final Update. This video acts as an explanation for where Luke was and as an apology for his behavior while he was still a public figure. And while I said in the video's comment section a reformed Luke could be interesting to see, I have to take that all back. The main issue people had with Luke was the Hopeless Peaches drama, and he just completely ignores her for most of the video. He even brings up Tobi, Jar, and Harley and then just ends the video, as if the main reason for his downfall wasn't him calling someone a super beta and a liar for no reason. When people pointed this out, he left a pinned comment and fucked off. That's it. That's the actual end of the story. You're a good person. I know that firsthand, and you shouldn't try to run away from everything. You don't have to stress yourself out either. You deserve peace and fulfillment, whatever form it might take. Anger can cause a lot of things, and you fucked up. Don't force yourself into something that you don't feel like handling, especially drama, which is draining. The mistakes have mostly healed. No, stop right there. Luke isn't a good person in the slightest. Everyone and their mother was telling him how bad these videos were, and he chose to run off for over a year and leave a comment saying he was sorry. He got off easy, and that level of forgiveness, I just can't say he earned. I preach about second and third chances, but Luke was already on like his fourth by the time he covered Tobi. That's why I don't think he could come back. He'd make the same mistakes and people would just forgive him for it. I'm done. For real this time. Luke was easily one of the worst commentary channels to ever reach that 100k milestone, and I am so glad he's gone for good this time. I'm gonna go sleep because this video was a nightmare to produce and I haven't slept in days. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. See ya, lads.